So this is the tips video. Tips and different kind of just philosophy type things that the music department here at Messiah desires out of soundboard operators. So, for example, the number one thing is the back speakers, right and left, just the music comes out of there. So if there's piano or flute or anything like that, it just comes out of those. It doesn't ever come out of that speaker up in the front. Variety of reasons for that, but that's just how it is. The front top speaker has vocals of all natures. So for example, if John is preaching from the front, a good deal of his voice comes out of the front, but also comes out of the back. If Jeff is singing, or Paul is singing, or anyone else is singing, most of their music comes out of the back, but an imperceivable amount comes out of the front speaker. So the mix that the music department desires is, again, for music, imperceptible amount out of the front of vocals and your average mix in the back, like just your house mix. For speakers, large amount out of the front and imperceptible / just a little bit in the back. So that's kind of a philosophy thing, and if you're changing up the mixes or if you're changing up the gains or anything like that, keep that in mind. The other tricks are, if John is in the front, he is number 3, he's the rector lav. If he's in the front giving his sermon on a Sunday and you have the pulpit mic still turned up, the pulpit mic catches things that are obviously spoken within that zone. It's a microphone, and it doesn't get shut off and turned on when people speak at it. So when John's up in the front, or when prayers of the people, or anything else like that, turn that pulpit mic down. The only time that should be there is obviously when announcements are happening or someone's up there. That's kind of a big deal, because that is where you get some muddling and some different noises that don't necessarily need to be there. If that's turned up and there's things coming out of the front speaker even, or out of the back speaker, those things get picked up by the pulpit mic, which is way in the front. So you're not getting a true mix and you're not getting very nice things. So that's one thing to be cognizant of as well. A couple other tricks, just board-wise tricks that we want to have people aware of, is if you've clicked this select button, for example, on Jeff's vocal. So Jeff's singing, whatever, it just doesn't sound right, and you can't fix it with the basic operation of just moving the slider. You click on this select button and see how it lights up. If you're over here, it's not going to light up. See that? By lighting that up, by lighting up that select button, S-E-L select button, what that does is it turns this screen into that channel and that channel only. See where it says channel 6 Jeff Vox. I'm sorry about the production quality again, but you know, what can you do for cheap money? So if you need to change any of this, if you want to do any equalization, you watch the equalization video and you can figure out how to do that. If you need to fix any of the mixes, we show you how to do that. You know, if we want to send more of Jeff's vocal up to the front speaker, watch the mix video and that'll teach you how to do that. But again, keeping in mind the tip of imperceptible music, normal house music, but when people are speaking, you know, that whole trick. So, a couple trick things. If you get too far into a menu, let's say you're in the recorder menu because you watched that video and you're trying to fix that, and you want to select Jeff's vocal again. How come Jeff's vocal's not up there? And things are really weird to you. What you do is, the number one key that you need to remember in this whole thing, if you learn nothing else from the tip video, is you learn about the home button. The home button takes you back to the home, just the selected views. So if I select, you know, channel 17, boom, that's what comes up. If you're in any of these other screens or you're playing around and you press the meter button because you want to see how different things are mixed, which that's another trick, the meter button. is another trick where you get to see if things are even or how they need to be mixed. Each of these channels are corresponding to each of these sliders. If you're in there and you don't want to be in there anymore and you actually want to select something, just selecting it doesn't fix the screen to be back to where you're happy with. So you click the Home button. Home is a button that you need to know about. The other tips and tricks is if I've got my earphones on and I am queuing up, I don't know, a video or something on the PC, or I'm queuing up just to figure out what's going on with the choir mic to see if we're actually picking up the choir. That button is this cue button. C-U-E, cue button. So if I want to cue this track, I'm queuing just that into the headphones. As well as the headphones, it just makes it part of this. Right now, it's just picking up my voice. It's picking up my voice. If, for example, you want to make sure that that's right, you move your slider appropriately, and you also can move the gain button appropriately. The gain switches that gain circle right there. We like you, in basic operation, not to mess with the gains, because that's how things are sent to monitors and things. We want you to move the sliders, but sometimes you're going to need to know how to do that. Pan, for example, is another thing. We can go just left speaker, just right speaker. I don't really see where we'd want that in the regular Sunday operation, but when you click on these cues, you can click on multiple cues at a time. I want to queue up these 5, 6 people. Boom, there you go. You got it queued up. Instead of hitting those 5 or 6 people in your earphones and queuing that all up at the same time and then having to delete all of that, you can click this button right here which says Cue Clear. Watch what that does. If I just press that button, see how all those cues are lit up? I press that clear and it clears out all of those, and my earphones are the house mix again. Another tip is over in our user-defined keys section, which we learned about in the basic video. What these guys, the big thing is 7 and 5 are also helpful. If it's communion and John accidentally left his mic on, or if it's during the sermon and you don't want to get the voices up here in the loft of people whispering and things, you can mute that whole group. So mute group 5, mute the floor, and mute group 7 is mute the loft. So watch what happens. I'm going to hit the mute the loft button, and all of those loft microphones are blinking now. But we've still got John, and we've still got the pulpit, and we've still got those other things over there. I click that again to unmute them. Don't forget to unmute them, you know, like when the music starts and things. If I want to mute the floor, that's the number 5 key. So just some tips and tricks. Again, the other videos out there are the equalizer video, the monitor and mix video, and the recorder video. So that's kind of, you watch those 5 videos, we split it up because not everybody needs to know all of those things. Thank you.